The greatest lesson, and I wish everyone, if you're listening to this class, if you're listening to this podcast, and if you ever come across this or whatever, if I could tell you one thing, I'm going to tell you the greatest lesson in life. Here's the secret. Listen closely. The greatest lesson that I ever learned from Rabbi Baxt, and the greatest lesson I ever learned in Torah, is the greatness of the sages. The greatness of these men is beyond compare. They're not even human. They're above human. They're so elevated. All of them. It is, you know what the Talmud says? That we are compared to the sages? We are like monkeys. I'm telling you, once you, and of course, everybody wants to diss on the Talmud, right? Oh, it's just a bunch of men writing a bunch of stuff. No,
No, not at all.
No. Once you really, really love what you're studying, what these gentlemen are saying, that's when you get it. And Rav Moshe Davi Vali, what's called the Ramdu, was the head sage of Rome. And so he knew everything about Christianity. And he knew all the codes about Christianity in the Torah. Adam, Esau, the whole thing. Adamite, da-da-da-da-da. Yeshua, no. He knew the whole thing. And so he is one of the greatest minds to teach from for the non-Jew ever. And I'm the only one that does it. There's
the fact that he was in the seat of Christianity and that he dealt with it and understood it more than anybody because of his proximity of being, the chief rabbi of Rome and being, so involved with things there. It's natural for him to reveal so much about Yeshu in his writings and in his commentary.
Mm-hmm. And I've fallen in love with the Ramdu. He's my guy. You know how people are. You're like driving down the road. Okay, if I could go back in time and meet one biblical character, who would it be? Would it be Moses? Would it be Solomon? Would it be David? Who would you want to spend the day with? Moses is the obvious answer, right? I would want to spend my time with Rav Ali. I love his thought process, his teaching process. And here's the deal. His Harusa, his study partner, was the Ramchal, Lazato.
Right.
One of the greatest Kabbalists ever. And Rav Ali was a physician. He was a doctor. So he knew, So there's so many things that came together here, this lightning in a bottle that has been captured for the nations. And Russell and I, we speak about this often. And one of our biggest comments to each other is if people knew what we were actually teaching, there'd be millions of people in that class a week if they actually knew what it was. But it's 1 in 1,000, man. It's 1 in 1,000. And that's the formula of Torah. So you have to go with God when he's right. So
but
for all people that are out there that listen to it to get it, you're special. Not by my hand.
No, yeah. Well, do you think that where we're at today that you're seeing I'm not saying a large group by no means, but you're seeing more people willing to engage in the material that you're teaching compared to when you started teaching 20 years ago?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really impressive how many people are watching. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with Russell. He sends the classes out to everybody in the world who may want to hear it. Russell is the disseminator of all things Torah and always has been. That's one of his things. If you need a piece of Torah, he's got it, and he can disseminate it to you. Right? He's the Microsoft of Torah, and so most of the reason, if you're hearing my class, it's probably because of Russell Kirk. Because
that's because I know what it's like not to have Torah and to be searching for it.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate enough to be in the situation to where we found it and created this group. So I want to be sure that I share that and give that opportunity to other people, and not limited to that. It's so if you call and ask me about something or for something, I'll see what I can do to get it to you. I always have. I've done it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right. Knowing y'all, both of y'all, as long as I've known both of y'all, I've never once seen y'all turn anybody away from anything. Y'all have always engaged in conversation, open conversation with all walks of life of people, and y'all, and I think what people don't realize is between the two of y'all know what it's like to come out of idolatry and paganism. You know what it's like to swim through that, and to try to switch your mind from one way of thinking to another. And it's not easy for everybody. You know what I mean? So there's much Torah that comes out of Russell's house, and as much Torah that you're giving in your classes. There's nowhere else that I can think of in the non-Jewish world where this amount of Torah is coming out between the both of y'all. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's an amazing thing. And it's heaven sent, because like you said, Mike, if Hashem didn't want it to happen, it just wouldn't happen.
That's right.
There's nothing that happens under his watch that he doesn't allow to happen.
That's right.
So, and I think a lot of people listen to your class, Mike. I don't know this to be a fact, but I think what you teach is, like you said, if people really knew what you were teaching and the formula you were giving people, everybody that studies Torah would be watching the class. Jew or not, non-Jew, it doesn't matter. Right. Because you are a part of that old tradition. You do have that lineage, and you've been doing it long enough not to you're not placing with it, and you're not liberal with it. You give this is what they say, and here it is in the Torah. Let's read it. Oh, here it is in Psalms. Let's read it. Oh, here it is in the Talmud. Let's read it together. You're not telling people, hey, it says this over here. You're taking them straight to the source. Yeah, and this is what he says right here.
Yeah,
and how many guys get on YouTube and say, what they say, and people just, oh man, did you hear what he was teaching? I mean, where's the source? Oh, well, I don't know. He just said. So that's the thing and this is Russell too. Anything y'all teach, it's all sourced. It's all source material from the Torah. And I think that's amazing.
Rabbi Bax used to tell me, he said, Mike, if anybody's ever going to take you serious, if you don't source it, it's not true. He said, source everything you say. And he's the one that drilled that into my head. And so I think it's very important in the class, if we're in the Talmud, I'll say, here's the book, it's on this page right here.
Let's read it together.
Let's read it,